horizontal. Minor. Hey everybody, my name is Dev. I've been a serious guitarist for over 3.5 decades. I want to help you improve on this instrument. And today is a video I've been wanting to make for a very long time. It's on something that I call the 3/4 rule for 7th arpeggios. And it'll open up a bunch of cool ways to traverse the fretboard both horizontally and vertically within a specific chord. And what we're going to do, the theory behind it, I guess you could say, is we're going to take a chord, like in this case this is the E major 7, and it's got these 4 notes in it: E, G sharp, B, D sharp, and then we can keep repeating those: E, G sharp, B, D sharp, E. I don't have a D sharp here, but and then but what we're going to do is we're going to take the 4 notes in that 7th chord, and we're going to play it 3 notes at a time, thus the 3/4 rule. And so we're basically playing triads from within the 4 notes or the quadad of the 7th chord. So for instance, that was E major 7, right? So we've got our, we're going to choose any 3 strings, and we're going to find 3 of those notes. So I'll start with the basis of our open E major chord. Now we're going to stay on those 3 strings, and we're going to move horizontally. I call this horizontally, moving up and down the fretboard as opposed to moving between the strings, which is I would call vertically. We'll take a look at moving vertically later. The theory, I think, unwraps better horizontally. We'll take these 3 notes. This is your basic E major chord. It doesn't have the 7th in it. And then we're going to continue to play triads within those 4 notes. So we've got E, G sharp, and B, and here we've got G sharp, B, D sharp, right? And then the next, we can do a bunch of different shapes here. On the next one, if we really wanted to, we could do like B, D sharp, and E, which actually sounds really cool, right? And then we can go back to, we've got a lot of options of ways that we can do this. I actually played this in between because it's a little bit more comfortable of a fingering. So when I think of this, that gives me a lot more options to play. I'm taking those 4 notes and I'm playing them in 3-note clusters, so like triads within. Let's take a look at some of the simpler places where this works. And this actually is going to harken back to a previous video I did on tapping, where I showed that the E, the G, and the B, those open strings, make an E minor chord. So we can do in that video, and again, I'll put a link over here and a card up top. I show this pattern for an E minor 7 tapping pattern. And what that's showing is this 3/4 rule. We're playing a 7th chord, so E, G, B, and D for our E minor 7, and we're playing it in these positions. Open strings, and we can continue up an octave too. Ooh, this guitar's real hard to get up to the 20th. But yeah, that is kind of the basis for being able to do this. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of step through a couple other shapes for you. Again, E minor 7. It's pretty straightforward because you've got the open strings in the arpeggio here. G major, we have an open G major here and an open, or in a 12th fret G major here as well. So we can do both G major 7 and G dominant 7. We've got a couple of really cool options that can fit in between as well. So those are some basic ones using open strings. I'm going to put over here a few other shapes for other things that you can try, and that'll serve as a springboard for you to try this with your own playing. Once I figured this out, it really opened up a lot of ways to move horizontally across the fretboard. So for instance, if I'm in A minor and I'm in this, in like our basic pentatonic box, and I want to get up to here, for some reason, I could, and I'm up there, in a way that makes sense, both like harmonically and in terms of the fretboard patterns. So horizontal, that's one of the favorite ways that I can do this. And it also, I think, makes the most sense if you're used to kind of playing, you know, frusciante style triads or something like that, you know, like. But moving vertically is probably my favorite way to do it. And I'm going to talk about the 3 basic shapes here for like dominant 7, major 7, and minor 7. Let's start with dominant 7 because I think it makes the most sense. And we'll stick with A. So A dominant 7 would be A, C sharp, E, G, A, C sharp, E, G, A, C sharp, E. You can continue it as much as you want. And what I'm going to do is kind of break that up into patterns that make sense for my fingers ascending. And what we're going to do here is stick with an A7 chord. We're going to start with that. We're going to talk about dominant 7, A7, A minor 7, and A major 7. We're going to start with dominant 7 because I think the shapes make the most sense. What we're going to do is just kind of come up with triads that will have those notes in it. So these are the shapes that I tend to use, and I love the way that this feels kind of moving vertically. That's the first triad, that's the second, third, and the fourth. So. Always works, feels really great on top of that dominant 7. And we'll extend that in a second, but next let's take a look at the minor 7 with kind of the same fingerings. That's the first shape, second, love the way that the minor 7 sounds, kind of cascading across the strings like that. The major 7 sounds wonderful too. I love the sound of them. They all sound great. And what we can do is we can then, once you get used to these shapes, I'll put them all up over here. Feel free to pause it, take a screen cap or whatever. But for the dominant, for the minor, and for the major 7. What we can do then is once we get up here, we can extend that with our, if I'm with the dominant, guess what? Now I can get into my horizontal. Minor. So the 3/4 rule for 7th arpeggios opens up a lot of opportunities. It takes some time to do the mental translation to add it to your playing in a natural way. But what it can do is if you're used to kind of like, you know, you're doing something like that, it's a different way to get into that melody, and it sounds and feels a little bit different, right? Conversely, if I was doing something like, maybe that could be, you know, and I'm kind of saying the same thing like with an accent, I guess, is kind of a way to explain it. But it's a way to make your playing a little bit more unique, a little bit less linear. And that's probably the best thing that I can get out of it, is if you're kind of bored with your playing or you want to just spice up a phrase, this is a great way to traverse the neck. It sounds like you're playing something more complex than you are. You know what chord you're on top of what you're playing. You can figure out the 7th version of it, apply one of these patterns, move up and down the fretboard in any way, and then you can get in and out of any positions that you would like. I hope you found this helpful. This is the second last video in my winter woodshed here. I post a long lesson like this every Tuesday. And I've got one more coming up next week, which is, it's going to be about 3 different approaches to a 3-part harmony. So make sure you like and subscribe if you found this useful. In the description is a link to sign up on my email list, which will give you immediate access to the Guitar Chord Survival Kit, which I think is super helpful for anybody. That's also available on Etsy if you want to just buy it and support me. I'll put a link in the description as well. And I'm thinking about starting up some private lessons, so reach out if that's something about which you're interested. And I hope this was helpful. And, you know, keep jamming out there. Cheers.